What's up, guys? It's Bax, and today I'm going to make a short guide on a topic that people ask me a lot in the comments. I'm always seeing, hey, Bax, can you make a guide on how to play Caustic aggressively? So hopefully I can go over some of the changes that happened since Season 6, and not a lot has changed in the advanced guides. I'll link those in the description. I do recommend you still watch those if you're newer to Caustic. They will help you bring your game to a higher level. But some of the changes that they made for Caustic have made him a lot different in the way that he operates. So hopefully this guide can help you understand how to be aggressive with Caustic. I'm going to do my normal format. I'll show clips, and I'll talk about them afterwards once I'm done getting the bulk of the information out. Now, before I start the video, I do want to say that YouTube is just like a side thing I do for fun. My main focus, I guess, is Twitch. So if you guys like the content here, please come by and say hi on Twitch. Follow the Twitch. We're getting so close to 1,000 followers, man. We have over 1,700 subs on YouTube. It's crazy. But if we can get to 1,000 followers on Twitch, it's gonna be with your guys' help. So if you like this content, you'll probably like it live. We have a really fun time. We have a great community. So I don't want to waste more of your time. We'll get right into the guide, but I hope to see you guys there. Alright, so as I said, I will not be repeating a lot of the things that haven't changed since the beginning of Caustic. If you haven't seen my original guides, I will link them all in the description. Some of the stuff is outdated, such as cocooning. Doesn't really work anymore. You have to do it in a different way. But again, that's not really as for being aggressive. And today's video is going to focus specifically on playing aggressively as Caustic. Now, playing aggressively as Caustic is very challenging now, because you're basically just focusing on your aim and your movement. Your traps, other than your ultimate, your traps aren't really going to be used as much for being aggressive anymore as it used to be. I'm not saying you never use them, but you just don't use them as much. Because with one of the new changes, the traps get shot out, or they get blown up when they're being shot, or when you first throw them. If they get shot before they've inflated all the way, anywhere they get shot, the trap just explodes and it's destroyed. Whereas it used to be, while it was inflating, it was invincible, and you had to shoot it at the bottom. I've talked in length about how I think this was a terrible change. So, but that's irrelevant. It's been changed. It's what we have to deal with now. So traps now, when you're being aggressive with throwing traps, if you are in a situation where your body can be shot at, you might not want to throw a trap, because you will be caught out throwing a trap. You'll be caught mid-animation, and you're not really doing anything to fight the enemy. You're just allowing yourself to be shot. And there really, even if your trap landed, there might not be a reason to throw a trap in that situation. You want to make sure when you're throwing anything you do on any legend in this game, you want to be making sure all of your movement is not wasted. All your movement needs to be doing something, whether it's moving to get into cover, or moving to attack, or move to a place to be defensive. It doesn't matter. You don't want wasted movement, because wasted movement is wasted time, and wasted time can get you killed in a numerous amount of ways. It can get your teammates killed if you're not helping them. So you don't want to just be throwing traps. You really want to know when you're going to be throwing them. And if you're pushing with your team, again, a lot of this will be expecting you to be on a team with people that you can communicate with, and I'm also expecting people watching this are trying to push higher ranks in ranked as Caustic. Pubs are a lot different. When you're just running around, it doesn't really matter as much. But when you refine your gameplay for pushing ranked, higher level ranked especially, you want your teammates to be able to maneuver around you. So whenever I'm playing ranked with predators that I play with, we have kind of an agreement on how things are going to be played out, because I am Caustic. Now, you have to understand that some people are not going to be willing to work with the Caustic, and they won't be good to play with the Caustic, and that doesn't reflect you. That reflects the people you're playing with. So if people you're playing with don't ever want to be patient, and they don't want to be willing to let you get prepared before you take a fight, then they're just not really people you want to be running with. The people that I run with, that I pushed Masters with when I was Caustic, and have played Predator games with as Caustic, they all understand that I'm Caustic and they need to play a certain way. and it's been great. It's been very beneficial for the whole group. So when you're throwing a trap out in the open, you want to, or not out in the open, but when you're aggressing and you're throwing a trap, you want to make sure that you are in a place where you're not just going to get killed immediately, because that's not helping anybody. And you also want to make sure that your trap isn't going to just get instantly shot out, unless you are throwing it around the corner maybe as a distraction, and then you peek with the trap, because then the person's going to shoot at the trap instead of shooting at you. For even just that split second, you can get a lot of damage out on somebody. So for example, I might run up to a window before I run into a building and throw a trap through the window behind the enemy, so that when I run through the door that is in front of the enemy, they would have to have been completely 180 to shoot the trap I threw in right behind them instead of shooting at me. So you really want to be smart about your traps when you are pushing aggressively as Caustic, because sometimes they can just be a complete waste and it's not really going to help you out at all, and that's not helping anyone. Traps are normally something you want to just not use. If you are pushing aggressively, you want your teammates to go in first as well, especially if they're a smaller legend like Wraith or Watson. I would assume some of the best comps still would be Wraith, Watson, and Caustic, because of her ability to portal you around, and then Watson's ability to stop grenades. Now, with Watson and Caustic, you're both going to need ultimate accelerant, so it's actually pretty cool to have a Watson who can double up a lot of ultimate accelerants for Caustic to use later on. A big thing I would say as well, when you are pushing aggressively as Caustic, is always be aware of your surroundings. This goes just back to one of my other guides. Because of your size as Caustic, you're still big, and your ability to be aggressive is less than it used to be because of how his traps get shot out. You want to be very careful when you are pushing aggressively as Caustic. So a lot of times we really think about, should we push this? And in that amount of time, we go, no. If you can stand there thinking for a moment on if you should or should not push a situation, chances are you shouldn't push that situation. If you're having to stop and think about it for a minute, then you might want to just wait until the push is a little bit more beneficial to you, or until you can just rotate into zone and take cover. That's probably your best bet. Now, because of the change with the teammates being able to run through gas, this actually opens up a lot of different things for your ultimate. Your ultimate is a lot quicker than your traps, obviously, and where you throw it is where it is. It can't be shot out. The enemy, you can force them to maneuver, so it's a really good zoning technique. But the ultimate, really, you want to make sure you have it a lot more than you used to, because you used to be able to substitute traps in for your aggressive pushing, whereas now the traps get shot out so quickly, you can't really use them as much. So that's where the ultimate comes in, but you need the ultimate, which is why it's very important that you have ultimate accelerants, so that you can have more ults to use as Caustic when you are pushing. Again, this is why communication is key with your team, because if your ult is down, you probably don't want to be pushing anything. Also, gold helmet, side note, gold helmet's amazing for Caustic, especially because of it gives you more traps for your defense, but also it gives you more ults so that you can push a little bit better. So when you're pushing, really make that decision with your team and try not to be the first one in. Or if you are the first one in, make sure you're taking the brunt of the shots, but you're doing some damage. But your team needs to be with you doing a lot of damage, knocking enemies, so that you aren't just getting shot up for no good reason. But maneuvering, it's still the same as it used to be. You really need to stick by buildings. You need to stick by cover. You don't want to run through open, flat areas, because you're just going to get absolutely reamed when you're Caustic, and that's not good. But the trap change, I can't really say much in the sense of it being better for you now, because everything that's happened to Caustic really has hurt Caustic. He's been kind of nerfed in a lot of ways since Season 5, I think. It's really unfortunate. But your traps, you can't just throw them around willy-nilly anymore. It's way more for just defense. But when you are in the heat of the moment, really think about where you're throwing your traps. You want them to be effective, but you don't want them to get shot out immediately. And if you are expecting them to get shot out quickly, you have to think, is this worth one of the charges of my traps to get shot out instantly? Is this going to benefit me? Or am I just wasting my time throwing the trap? And am I wasting my time throwing a trap instead of shooting? Because again, if you can throw a trap in and your whole team is pushing, then maybe that's good, because the enemy might not take the time to shoot your trap, they might all be shooting at you and your teammates, and then boom, you have a trap going off right next to them, and that's perfect. But again, you really have to think about these things in a moment-by-moment situation. I can't really just break it down. You have to just play a lot of Caustic to learn these situations with this in mind. Obviously, not just playing him a bunch. That's not going to help you get better. But you need to play him with the mindset of, how do I use my traps to my advantage? It's kind of like a moving a game of chess. That's why I always love playing Caustic, because you're always having to think not just about your movement and your aim and what guns you have and your armor and all that kind of stuff, but you need to worry about what you're going to use your traps for, where you're going to place them, where you can fall back. So when you're being aggressive, be very, very careful about where you put your traps or how you use them, and where you are placed physically in the game when you are trying to use these things. Okay, so right here, I push in and I see that there's a whole team in here. I have my ultimate, and unfortunately, my teammate blocks my ult, because I was actually going to just put it into this room. But as you can see, I waited for my team to push in before I ran in by myself, because I knew if I just ran in, it would be a death trap. So I waited for my team to come in there, make some confusion. I threw my ult. It did miss, but that's exactly how you want to use it. Kind of put it into a room in the middle of the room so that you're able to maneuver around, and it just blocks line of sight off for the enemy for a while. So this clip right here is a really perfect example of how to be aggressive with your entire team working together. So we have a Jibby ult first, and now I'm here with my Jibby, and I get my ultimate in the window, and now we already had a single knock, but they are flushed out of this building, and I'm able to just push them out and fight them. So I used my Jibby's ultimate to get into the building, or to keep them trapped in the building so they couldn't leave, while we pushed up to the building. And then I was able to get my ultimate inside the building, and I didn't, as you see, I haven't even really used traps yet. It's just been ultimates, because there really wouldn't have been a reason to throw a trap there. But the ultimates worked out perfectly. We stopped them from leaving the building, and then we were able to collapse in on them and kill them. Here's a perfect example of a clip that goes from me being defensive to offensive, even though I have low HP. And the reason, and again, here, no traps, ultimates, ultimate. I realize I'm getting pushed, so I throw my ult in a place where I know that the enemy is just going to be stuck in there, and I use my ability to just run through the gas willy-nilly to my advantage, and I'm able to get a knock, and my teammate's able to knock the rest of the people and clutch up because I was able to get at least one knock. Here's a clip where absolutely nothing fancy happens. I just keep cover. I don't use any of my abilities. I just stay in cover, and I'm remembering my size. And I would say this is pretty aggressive, even though I'm in a defensive stance. I'm playing aggressively by peeking these people repeatedly. But I'm just staying by cover, and I'm able to wipe the squad with my team. So this is a clip that shows the absolute ebb and flow of offense and defense that I've been talking about with Caustic from the beginning. I'm constantly going from aggressive play to defensive play because of my size, and because of the situation that I'm in. We are surrounded by teams. I'm able to get a stick right there on the Watson. Knowing that the Watson's about to get blown up, I immediately shift my focus to this Revenant. Whiffing some shots, we get the knock. We get the squad wipe. Immediately we know another team is right behind us, so I go for some looting. I almost pick up the blue armor swap, but I realize I can get in cover comfortably to get a bat off. Unfortunately, my duo partner goes down, and I scuff this ultimate a little bit, but I throw it enough so that I can get line of sight, or I can break line of sight with the enemy and have a place to go hide. And I use this little cover, and they have to go really wide to my left, and I can see them burning through it, and I can use cover, and boom, they tried to aggress through this gas, and I whiff a bunch of wingman shots. That should have been a knock if I didn't whiff so much, but I end up getting it here. And even though I'm really low, I start throwing out traps. I throw a trap first where I am, because that has the least amount of chance of being shot. And then now I'm able to use this as cover. I know which side he's coming from, and I can keep just dancing around this truck, being very annoying in order to outplay. My teammate crawls over, shout out to Reap, insane player. So he crawls over to me so I can use him as cover. I'm sitting inside of him, this guy comes to push me, and I completely use it to my advantage. Look at that. The Pathfinder went to shoot at my teammate, and I peeked out and got him. Unfortunately, we get pushed again. I get an armor swap off. I put a trap down in a place where it will not be shot. That's why I put it there. It could be shot, but it has a very low chance. Unfortunately, we've just been pushed now by this, like, so many teams. It's hard to, you know, get away, especially with zone the way it is. I try to be defensive again. I fall into a defensive stance. And then these guys didn't see me. I get the med kit off, but it's just 2 guys against me with no armor. So regardless, I'm constantly going from an aggressive pose to a defensive stance, just going back and forth all the time. It's not just taking one or the other. You're constantly going back and forth, and that is very important. So here we have another example of using traps and abilities to make sure that I can keep my teammate safe. Now, you might notice a lot of these videos go from me being defensive to fighting. And as I said, Caustic is all about being defensive until you see the opportunity to be offensive. And that's why a lot of these clips show me going from defense to offense like that. Because you never know when you're going to be pushed. So look, I'm fighting around up here with Reap. And we are just kind of, you know, restabilizing from the last fight that we took. But I have a trap ready right there if anyone tries to push me. And then, boom, I run out. This guy's throwing nades at me. I see my opportunity. I pounce. I wipe the squad because of it. And then I immediately set up another trap for the next team. Chances are that won't be shot out. If it is shot out, I know that people are pushing. And these people just keep pushing right back into my trap. I'm able to get a knock. Even though I'm low, I go back to hide again. Reap comes up in the bottom. I swing around. I get an easy kill. A lot of these fights, guys, you're going to be taking them, and you need to be playing smart. You're aggressive, but you're smart. You can't afford to just be running at team after team. You need to kind of be entrenched in somewhere where you are. We just fought 2 fully geared teams while we were both healing and hurt and losing a lot of... we were losing a lot of meds. We didn't really have... You know, I'm just armor swapping here. And we don't have a lot of ammo. But because of my trap placement, it gives us breathing room. The teams aggressing us have to think, and we have time to fight them when they aren't prepared. Here's a perfect example of me pushing with an ultimate. I jump up, I put the ult right on the edge, so they either have to they're forced down onto me, or they have to back up, and I can climb up and shoot them. That Wraith opted to jump onto me. I destroyed her, and then now I'm able to fight with my teammate, and I can get an easy armor swap because of my positioning. So you just get a little I just tossed that ultimate. It wasn't flashy. It was right in front of me, and it did its job. It stopped the enemy from being able to easily shoot at me, and it gives me all advantage. So this clip right here is absolutely chock full of trap placement. Look, I got a trap there, and I'm going to stop a lot of teams from pushing me. Look, this guy's got purple armor. I'm still able to get the knock and trade, and even if his teammate came immediately, I'd be able to back up into that trap. And also, the way this building has another building connected to it, you want to make sure you have a trap in a position where you will be able to stop enemies that are aggressing onto your building. So again, right off the drop, we're going to be low on ammo, we're going to be low on meds. It's not going to be a fun time, especially in a capital drop, getting sieged by multiple teams. So I know we're getting pushed. I still have my trap set up. Normally, I put a trap there on the stairs so it won't get shot out. And normally I'll put a trap, I think I'll throw one in a moment, up those stairs to the right. I'll throw one there so that there's a trap in a place people normally won't expect it. But see, I'm always safe. I'm always in a position where I can fall back immediately if I start taking too much damage. I always put a trap there as well because it doesn't get shot out as much. That one got shot out because that team was aggressing me and I didn't expect them to keep pushing, but ended up getting them killed. So it was worthwhile. They shot the trap instead of shooting my down teammate, but I always put it there. It's a little bit around that corner, so enemies don't really see it as much until they've committed to fully walking around, and by then the trap is set off. So here I should more than likely place the trap. There it is. I always place it there because chances are people aren't going to see it. Look at that. This guy, he had fully aggressed into it. They both aggressed into it, and they set off my other traps. So they're just cooking now, and I have another trap in this room for when I want to use it. But these guys fully ran away, and they hopped over the edge, which was smart. But they sustained a lot of HP damage. But it gave me time to hop down and to heal myself. And now I know all my traps up there for the most part are burnt. So I start setting up this area. But see, every time they aggress me, I already have a trap down. So she pushed me, thinking it would be smart, but since I already set it up, she got killed because of it. I ultimated the elevator shaft for the most part. I didn't even know if an enemy was coming. I just set that up so I could stop them from pushing me. So I use this time to go back up, and I'm making these fights last as long as possible so that I can make sure I keep getting traps back. But I made these fights last as long as possible, and I made it so I could give myself time to go back up and get my teammate. I even re-knocked that Wraith, and I knew she was going to keep getting res because Lifeline's super fair and balanced. And then I fought the Lifeline, and I got her. And all of this is just happening because I'm basically solo in all these fights right now. But I'm stopping all of these teams who keep aggressing us from being able to just get a free and easy kill. Unfortunately, we're just pushed over and over and over again. And at some point, no matter how well you play, when you get pushed, you know, by 5 separate fully geared teams and you're down a man, now down 2, there really isn't much that you can do. So again, I climb right back up, put a trap right down in a place where they're not going to shoot it, and I'm going to be able to use it to my advantage later on. But now it's just, again, I'm just running out of meds. I am getting sieged again by multiple teams, and I don't really have time to loot. I put that same trap there again, and all of that is just to keep everything rolling. Now this one we have a situation where we're pushing an entire team, but we're pushing them into a confined area, which is Caustic's. I mean, that's just the best thing that could happen when you're Caustic. So we're able to get a knock, and I keep closing distance, but I'm using cover the whole way. Now here I tried to throw the ultimate behind somebody to trap them on our side. Unfortunately, I only knocked people, which doesn't really do much, but we get a bunch of free loot, we get a bunch of free time to loot, and we push through. My teammates are able to aggress that efficiently. We get the knocks, and we're still fighting one person. We get the squad wipe, and immediately I go for the res, and we're getting pushed by another squad. If I let go to start setting up. If I had known we were going to get pushed, I might have told my other teammate, hey, you take that, I'll start setting up. I also see that we're getting pushed by another Caustic, and this actually works in my favor, because their lifeline pushes it, thinking it's going to be easy, and I see her ass glowing the whole way. Easy knock, I fight that Caustic 1v1, take his ass out. Now, we're just looking for if there's anyone else, if there's anyone left. Unfortunately, my teammate gets knocked to the gas. I kill the third one that did the longest flank ever, and we're getting pushed by another team. So there's only so much that you can do when you're pushed by so many people. I think this is just the end-all be-all clip to show aggression with Caustic with absolutely no ability usage and just relying on aim and movement. So I fully beam this Mirage. I'm in a 1v2. We're in duos, a Mirage and a Revenant. I fully beam that Mirage, and I have no health. I'm just fully relying on my aim and my movement here, and my aim prevails. This has nothing to do with his abilities. There's no reason for me to ultimate there. Some people might ultimate, some people might throw a trap. There's no reason for any of that. I fully relied on my aim, and it won me the situation. Sometimes as Caustic, guys, that's what you want to do. You do not want to waste your time throwing the traps or throwing your ultimate. Just shoot. Well, I could keep going on and on. I hope you guys got the gist of it. I did say it was going to be a short video, and I lied, and I didn't mean to. Video's gotten pretty long, but I hope I went into detail. I hope that this helped you, and that you guys can understand my thought process, at the very least, on why I make decisions that I make when I'm playing. But this is really it. Now, with Caustic, you have to rely a lot more on your aim and your movement than your traps than before, and when you do rely on your traps, you need to make sure that they're in a good spot. I hope this wasn't too long-winded. I really do hope it went into detail and explained everything in a way that you guys can learn from. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, as I always do. Love reading your guys' comments. I love replying to your guys' comments. It's so much fun to me, and I really appreciate all of you who watch and support this and support me. We're nearing 2,000 subs on YouTube, which is crazy, and we're getting so close to 1,000 followers on Twitch. Again, I stream on Twitch as my main gig. I really have fun there. We have a lot of fun. I've been able to play with a lot more of my console viewers lately because of cross-plat, which has been great. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Come by the stream and let me know what you thought about it. Love talking to my Thicc gang from YouTube. So much fun. I'm going to hop off now, though. Probably start up stream. So if you guys enjoyed this, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys have a good one.